Hi guys, welcome back to the Road Path. My name's Jack, and this is episode 32 of WAAC Weekly-ish, the show where we look at Team Red Path news as well as world eaters out in the world. In the past few weeks, ITC Team Red Path has been very active, and our Thousand Suns win rate has been tanked. Let's get into the video. So to reiterate, we're looking at 25 plus player events, 5 plus rounds. So far in 10th, unfortunately, World Eaters are at just a 40% win rate with 269 games played by 40 players. We do make up just 1% of the player base. For context, Dara are currently sat at 11%, and so significantly more popular there. At the moment, as you might expect from that win rate, 80% of our players have had losing records at tournaments, with only 62% achieving. Well, no, not with only, with 62% achieving 2 or fewer wins. Most of these losses have come in the 10 to 40 differential range, and we remain only with 2 strong performances covered in a few of the more recent episodes, and both in the States, I believe. Yeah, so 40% win rate, obviously not great, not in a good spot. And we know we're getting some changes. Well, I know we're getting some changes in the points rebalancing that we'll go over a little bit later in the video when we can expect that. In terms of matchups, though, anything that's like massively below 40% is stuff that we struggle into, and those are Custodes at 20%, unsurprisingly. Imperial Knights 25%, again unsurprising. GSC probably not too surprising at 25% there. And then Eldari, obviously, we're at 20%, although Dara and I did do our part a few weeks ago. We both got a win against Eldari. The same Eldari. We're Waygate. It was a weird choice, but it was good fun. Really good fun. On the other side of that, we're doing quite well. So this is stuff that's drastically above 40% with a decent number of games played. So we're doing pretty well into Loyalist Marines with a 53% win rate. We're doing pretty well into Necrons, which is feels weird. Necrons are obviously very good, very hard to kill. I think probably it is the volume of damage 1, AP 1 is like alright for killing them, just volume is alright for killing. So yeah, obviously the volume of attacks is a low AP but high enough strength to be winning on 3s. Pretty good for killing shifting warrior blobs, that kind of thing. Historically, we've been fairly good at killing Necrons, so yeah, that's potentially why we're doing alright there. Obviously, there's a player skill element as well, terrain, mission, all of that stuff that we don't really have the context for. But overall, 56% is pretty good. We're still also at 79% into guard. I think we do quite well in that matchup, just if we go first. Especially with scout moving everything, if you go tech for that, that can really mess up guard really easily. And again, we're pretty good profiles into guard. Our berserkers will generally be winning them on 2s on the charge. Angron and Maul Fiends, that kind of stuff. Forge Fiends will be wounding their tanks pretty handily. Forge Fiends less so, but the other 2. And yeah, I think we just do alright into guard. As I said, there's not really been any recent meta changes. We have got a round of points tweaks, hopefully in the next 3 weeks. So the latest MetaWatch video mentioned that they were expected in the second week of September, which would put them over 2 weeks out from the LGT and just after Nova, I believe, because they said they didn't want to impact any big tournaments too much. I would argue that 2 weeks before LGT is going to impact a big tournament quite a lot, but it'll be interesting to see if they get played. I would imagine 2 weeks out that they will get included in LGT. But yeah, we also do know from conversations that Dara had, at least, that pretty much everything will be going down for us. Angron might be going up, but everything else will be going down, which lends credence to Dara's tinfoil hat theory that our entire army is costed around Angron's revive. I think they may have noticed that that is in fact the case. So Angron is going to be costed for it himself, and our army is going to be the rest of our army is going to have, by the sounds of it, fairly significant points costs. We know Berserkers, 8-bound and Exalted 8-bound are all going down a decent amount. with Berserkers in particular mentioned as being very overcosted, and something they're aware of. Um, yeah, the message changes to date, which have been quite light touch and not really directly affected us, they don't appear to have helped us. We've had months of data now, and our win rate has stayed fairly flat, if not gone down slightly. Because we were up at 42, 41 at the start of the season. We're down towards 40, and we have dipped to 39 on a couple of weeks. But yeah, so that's kind of a roundup for now. Obviously, not a great spot at the moment, but there is light at the middle of the tunnel in like 3 weeks' time. So keep an eye out on Warcom for those points changes, because I'd imagine they'll be pretty good reading for us. In terms of ITC Team Red Path news, both Dara and I attended a 6-round GT at Warhammer World. We have done a pretty deep dive on our tournament review. You can check out the VOD of the stream that we did last week. In short, both of us went 3-3. I went a slightly better 3-3 with my meme list. I finished 28th and Dara finished 29th out of, I think, 60 odd, which we're both pretty happy with. I also just love that I placed higher than Dara, and Dara said he was going to try hard it, and I was going in aiming for 1 win. Dara got 466 battle points, so I got 467. That was very funny for me. Dara won all of the awards though. Check out our stream, it's really good. It's a good laugh. Yeah. We have also had another member of ITC Team Red Path in action. 2 tournaments in 2 weeks by the looks of it. So it was Luke Dickin both times, graduate in the Discord. First up, he had the Lazy Dragon Gaming Cadia series. He went 1 and 2 at a 14-player RTT, so went win, loss, loss. And I will get his list up. No. There we go. Cool. Buttons worked. So he had a very tight win in his first game against Tyranids. Said it was one of his favourite games. And it was 96-95, I believe, from messages in the Discord. So obviously a really tight game, a really high scoring game as well. So I'd imagine that was a lot of fun. He then had losses to Eldari and Custodes. Obviously that is a hellish run for a 14-player RTT. Eldari and Custodes and also Nids are pretty good. Playing all 3 of those in a 3-round tournament is rough. Impressed by the 1 and 2. So Angron, Khorne, 2 Moes, Glaive and Favoured. That's fairly standard. Fitting in a Khorne rather than a 3rd Moe is pretty nice. 2 squads of Jackals, 10 of Berserkers, 2 5s of Berserkers. I would imagine Khorne is in the 10 and the 5s are the Moes. 2 Rhinos to carry all of them. 5-man Terminator squad with combi weapons, heavy flamers. Yep, the loadout. Deep strike threat, just a nice, tough to shift as well now actually, which is nice. And then a bloodthirster for to be Angron's buddy, I would imagine, or deep strike again. But Angron's buddy as a double threat is pretty nice. A lot of the deployments, you can yeet them both up, and Angron will probably make the charge, and then the bloodthirster can maybe try for a long charge, and then if he doesn't make it, fine, because the opponent's probably dealing with Angron for the next turn, and then the bloodthirster just makes it in turn 2 as a wave 2, or at least that was my experience. But my list was very different to this. So, yeah, I mean it's a pretty standard list for World Eaters nowadays. Lots of Berserkers, lots of Jackals, not much else, and obviously the Moes. So I want the Glaive Moe in a list so bad, but I am committed to the memes now. I watched Dara's Glaive Moe do disgusting things at Warhammer World, and yeah, I want that in my life. But I would never roll 5 damage, so yeah. Favoured obviously really useful for getting Angron back, and then Khorne is just a really good multiplier on a big squad of 10. I mean the Moes are pretty good. They make Berserkers pretty good tech pieces to play the midboard. Because they become zone denial, because people don't want to charge them because you fight first. If they shoot them, you can blood surge, or you charge them and you get charge bonuses. So it's kind of like, yeah, people will struggle to know how to deal with them. There's a lot of stuff to remember, and it's easy for people to like misplay basically with that in mind. So that was 1 and 2 at the Lazy Dragon Gaming Cadia series. Really strong in the new world of 10th for us. And then second, he played the Naughty K GT August, where he went 2 and 3 at a 23 player GT, where he went loss win with a bye in the last round. Because there was an odd number of players, I guess. So his first loss was to Imperial Knights, 2 big ones and 7 little ones. His win in his second game came against a very vehicle-heavy Iron Warriors list. There was a lot of Predators in that list, as well as some Demons, some like Nurglings and stuff to like pad it out, play objectives, I guess. And then his last 2 losses came against Tau and Necrons. And I have his list here. So this is fairly similar. This was, as I say, the week after. So 2 Moes retained, but no Khorne. 2 Scourge Jackals, and then just the two 5s of Berserkers. So I'd imagine Khorne was with the 10 unit in the other tournament. So just 2 5s as those like mid-board tech pieces. A squad of 8 bound, just a little one. A Land Raider, hilariously. That still takes all the Berserkers. A Terminate squad for the same thing. Bloodmaster, cannot recommend highly enough. 85 points for a 40mm deep striking base in the world of tactical secondaries, where things like homers, cleanse, all of that stuff comes up. Really nice. Did a lot of work for me. And a Bloodthirster still, which I imagine plays the same role as in the last list. 8 bound, probably as a force multiplier for the Berserkers, and also just a bit of hitting power. I still think they are a bit overcosted for what they do now. But a source of rerolls as well as some hitting power is pretty nice. Land Raider, sure. Big block of stuff that's hard to kill, but not great, I don't think. Yeah, so again, fairly standard list, a bit of a tweak. I would actually say I think I like the last list better. But I like the Bloodmaster tech. I really like the little squad of Terminators as well. And obviously, Moes with ablative wounds are really good at the moment. So, or they're one of the only real ways to play combat armies is just make sure you have Lizard fights first, which Moes provide us. So two decent performances from Luke, 1 and 2, and a 2 and 3. And in terms of World Eaters tournament performances, we are still restricted to those 2 really strong ones. As I mentioned earlier, we're at 62% achieving 2 wins or fewer at the big GTs. And yeah, it is rough out there now at the moment. People are kind of getting to grips with their factions and also realizing that melee is not very good at the moment. Most melee seems to be doing far less damage than it used to in a world where shooting still does quite a lot of damage. So it's just making that disparity all the more obvious, which is not great. As I said, don't give up hope yet. By the sounds of it, we're getting some fairly significant points decreases in 3 weeks, ahead of LGT as well. So I can't speak for the tournament organisers, but I know their rules are normally a week. So by the time of list submission is when they hit their cutoff for rules is. So we might have new points for LGT, which is the next like really big tournament. I guess there's Nova, but the next really big tournament in the UK. And yeah, so don't give up hope. Stick around for 3 weeks, see what points changes are. If they are rubbish, then it's another 3 months until the next change. So that's maybe a point to at which you can look at jumping ship. But stick around for 3 weeks, see what the points changes do. Obviously 40% is not great, but we're also drifting into the point where we might get like really over the top buffs, which might make us really good for a little bit. So fine. If you want to talk to me, Dara, or a graduate, people in action in the last couple of weeks. We're all in the Discord. Graduate has talked about his games a fair amount. Dara and I are fairly open about it. I'm getting more into the hobby side at the moment, which is hilarious to see. So join our Discord. There's a link down below. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff for the video, algorithm stuff. And yeah, most importantly, guys, stay healthy, stay safe, and kill mean better.